Dude, I finished one day Monday night.
Okay. Have you not been okay?
Dude, I'm so pissed off.
Who are you more pissed off at? Or why are you
You
pissed
for
off?
making me watch that, dude.
Oh. Is Kelly thankful she didn't join you for this one?
Yes.
I am so sorry. Here's the thing, dude. I think it's just like a domino effect of hate. Whoever recommends this, because I was recommended by someone who recommended by someone, and they all hate the people that recommended it.
Sorry, I had to finish this bit of popcorn I had.
I know you put something in your mouth, so I decided to put something in my mouth. I put a high chew.
Oh,
High chews are delightful, dude.
dude, those are the best candies on the market right now.
Dude,
Let's go.
One of our top listeners, Brian, will be so stoked, one, to hear that. Two, he gave me these.
Oh, that's
They're
probably the best gift anybody could have given you.
Oh, 100%. I used to go to this therapist that would have a bowl of them, and you can just sit there and chat, and I'd be eating them. So now
dude,
I just don't go to therapy. I eat high chews, and I think I get the same care.
Same treatment, same care.
But
hey, how's it sounding, by the way?
Oh, it sounds great. No crackling. New cord.
New cord, new me, dude. And no mustache. First episode without a mustache, dude.
I didn't even notice that.
I got bullied at work.
You work with Jeremy?
Nah. Jeremy, if you're watching this, dude, stop listening now. I don't want your support.
Okay. So we're doing one day first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Welcome to the Living a Stream podcast, where we watch movies on the various forms of streaming platforms and determine if they are full watches based on Jimmy V's 1993 ESPY Speech rubric. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Perez.
And I'm the other host, Eric Harrison.
And Eric is going to kick this podcast off with... What's up, dude? How you doing?
How life has been, dude. Life has been good, but... Okay, so... Do you remember how I had Josh's running shoes?
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot. They were just rotting in my trunk. Josh, if you're listening, I'm sorry. It took me 5 business days, actually. 7 whole calendar days to text you. Anyways, I hit him up and we met up and we were talking about how bummed we were we couldn't make it to your party. And he goes, yeah, that fool's going to be in school forever, though. So we have like 4 or 5 more graduations we can go to. And I said, yes, dude. Absolutely. We'll make it to the next one.
Someone literally said like, oh, this is cool, but, like, it's kind of like middle school, right? On to the next one. So,
oh my God.
Which is true, dude. I was telling people, I was like, dude, I'm so grateful, super pumped, super jazzed. People want to celebrate. I wanted to celebrate. I wanted to hang out. I love the party. At the same time, it's okay. There's going to be another one, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, there we go. And the same amount of more people, dude. Everybody else who couldn't make it to that celebration.
No, that's really funny. That's all good. Did you hold them for ransom? Is that what you're withholding from this podcast? Is that you're like, well, they were in my trunk because I was trying to negotiate a deal.
Absolutely.
To squeeze Josh for some dollars.
Dude, but he's just he's a nice human, dude. It was nice running with him and Brenna in Colorado, and we're gonna go for a run. Well, we talked about it. So Josh, if you're listening, we don't ever end up running together. It's not my fault. Like I just we in the moment, it's dude, let's hit the trails. Yes, let's go. Let's go for a run. But then when it comes to like actually running, because he's a runner, right?
I mean, he's a pretty serious runner. He runs quite a bit.
Other Josh, I'm sorry. We'll have to see, man. Yeah. I capped out at the 4 miles we did in Colorado.
That's dude.
That might be my
You
limit.
capped out and Kelly tapped in. Kelly,
dude, that's crazy. What the heck? We were at the park with the kids, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna run home," and I was like, "Oh, are you in comfortable shoes?" And she's like, "Not really." I was like, "Yeah, let's just go for a run when you get home." She's like, "No, I'm running," and she just stretched and just took off. And we're literally just there, like with our popsicles in our hand at the ice cream truck at the park, like, "Oh," and she almost beat us home. Actually, by the time I got them loaded up in the car and left, but dude, she was cooking. She was cooking.
Love that energy, dude. She got the running bug. She got bit.
And in like I think she was wearing like some platform Adidas, dude.
From platform shoes?
Like platform Adidas, all white, like stylish shoes. And I'm like, you're gonna have different aches and pains.
Oh yeah.
You without your running shoes, but she didn't.
Dude, I've learned my lesson twice from running in non-good running shoes. The first time was I was using these like super used 20-year-old Nike free runs. Remember those Nike free run thin ones?
Yeah, dude.
Cruising. This was like probably like 2016-ish or 2015 or something. I was doing great. And then I contracted that plantar's fascism shit and my foot exploded and it was hurting real bad. And it turns out it's because of the shoe.
After one run?
No, after like years of like
Okay.
not years. I'm being dramatic, but probably like 7 runs. No. But and then the second time was when I ran to your house when it was holidays and I was a little tipsy and Noah and I decided to run from Skylar's house to your house. And I ran in those brand new Vans and got these gnarly blisters on my ankle from running in Vans, high tops.
That's right. That was the most random night ever. That's right. You were in Vans. You were just chilling.
Yeah, I fell down. You know the hill that goes down towards Montano? Like if you're on Unser and there's that dip before you get to the left turn to go to your house. I fell on the rocks and rolled. I do not recommend it, dude. I do not recommend having a little bit of drinks and going running in high top Vans.
Hey, speaking of, I was driving back from the gym down that hill the other night. Just me in the car. I had the windows down, just jamming the music. And this car pulls up to my right. It's pitch black. I mean, it's nighttime. And they're honking, and their fingers out the window. And I was like, oh, whoa, it's Albuquerque, dude. I thought it was game over for me. It was Noah. And so he pulls up next to me. He's like, are your kids in the car? I said, no. And he goes, okay. Yeah.
At least you checked in.
I was like, dude, I thought I was going to get shot. Like, you don't know. It's just, I couldn't see his face, who it was. I just see this hand out the window, just flip me off with the honking. And I'm like, dude, what is going on?
We're done, dude.
Sneaky guy,
dude. That's what I say out here. When people honking all liberally out here, I don't know if it's the Albuquerque in me or what. I don't honk. In my head, I'm like, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, we might end up in a non-recorded version of beef, and then road rage just leads to just some tragic ending for me, and I don't want
a non-recorded version.
So,
how else has life been?
How else has life been? Pretty good, man. I mean, it was, stressful, good stuff, ended well. And then now it's summertime, but doing the same old client work stuff. Kind of, I might be in a summer course, so I guess no breaks, dude, no breaks. But it's a cool thing. It's local politics. It includes some leadership in local politics, so we get to meet local policymakers and people involved with I think local politicians and stuff. So that'd be great. So whenever you guys you and Kelly move up here, I'll have some connections about get you plugged into some local politics, dude. Get Mayor Eric out here.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm talking about. I love that. That'll be fun. When does that start, or did it start?
I mean, it did start already. I'm just working out the logistics here and on how to make it official. But yeah, it's already started on Monday. So, anyways.
And when does the semester start for you? August, September, October?
September.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
excited?
Yeah. It'll be good, man. I'm trying to enjoy the summer, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked for the fall. Stoked to things to get started. Should take some cool classes and stuff, but just trying to focus on running, building, this whole thing, doing more sweet and condensed, do more Three Mooks media production type stuff, and then I want to travel a little bit. We'll see if that happens, but I mean, summer, dude. It feels like maybe that's what it is. I'm just tragically a kid forever, and I want there to be summer breaks all the time. Because I realize, for you, for example, has summer started for your kids?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It started a couple weeks ago.
Is it any different for you, and as you work for?
Oh yeah, I leave work early all the time
during the summer.
All the time. Oh, dude, I hate when I'm at work and it's after 2 o'clock. First of all, I am a very productive person, but when my brain shuts off and I'm checked out, I'm done. I'm not useful. So I just, at a certain point, so it's 2:30 to 3. I know the kids are in the pool and I walk outside and it's 90 degrees and I'm in an office. I'm I'm going home.
Oh,
I'm leaving. So it's shout out to my boss. She's super awesome. The place is a great, flexible place to work. But yeah, man, summer feels different for me too, because I'm I gotta get out of here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. And they are very busy in the summer with VBS at church and this fun little camp and this thing and play dates with friends. And I love seeing that. but I also like I try to pack our weekends, dude. You can talk to Kaylee. I'm pretty obnoxious. I'm like, all right, Hemis Falls Saturday. We're going to the United game Saturday night with some people from work for the company picnic. It's like Sunday we're gonna do the like, dude. I just try to jam pack weekends. Like, so kids are busy. I'm always trying to do something. I'm like, which day of the week should I just take off and go on a bike ride? Like, I feel like summer break for them. I'm making it summer break for me too. Like, I have to. You know what I mean? Still gotta pay the bills, but like,
right.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's
okay. Never mind. I was
fun.
gonna say like for jobs, it seems like nope, it's still the same. Everyone wants a summer break. Maybe we all just want summer breaks.
We all need summer
and
breaks.
we all should get them.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned it, so I'm plugging it because I thought this week was fun. For those listening, check out the Three Milks Media Instagram where you can find the Sweet and Condensed podcast, the Sweet and Condensed newsletter. You could also obviously find it on Substack. That's where we want you to subscribe. But on Instagram, you can see a nice little recap of our favorite Watch Wednesdays, the newsletter, our takes. I think this week's was fun. Our watches are getting good.
They are.
Like, they've always been good, but like the crew is really putting out some good watches. Sarah Warland, where you at? That's all I'm going to say. I look forward to every week to see the other guys, dude. That was Josh's, for everybody listening. That was Josh's favorite watch of the week. That is the Aim for the Bushes scene.
Oh,
is easily one of the best things ever put out in media, dude.
Dude, Aim for the Bushes that leads into an argument at the funeral. They're just like very quiet though. It's so good.
Unbelievable. That is a great comment. I'm gonna have to rewatch that, dude. We've been watching a lot of like really grim. We watch Baby Reindeer and these other really intense movies. We need a comedy, Kelly and I, in our life.
Yeah, it's fun too because there's just so many layers to that. The layers of the jokes and how they continue to build on each other, and it's just the little things, dude. The little things in that Aim for the Bushes, or at the very beginning when they're like, "Hey, do you think this is worth millions of dollars worth of damage for like a misdemeanor or for like half an ounce of weed or something?" And they're like, "Well, let's ask the city." But I think that scene kills me the most is when that guy, the hot dog vendor guy, says, "Free drinks and hot dogs." Or no, free hot dogs for life. And he goes, "No drinks. I can't do drinks." And they start booing him. It's so silly, but it's so funny to me. It's like these little tiny little details that they just go further and further into their joke. Do
you think The Rock or Mark Wahlberg, I know we're getting on a tangent here, do you think they're good actors? I think they should stay in comedy. Like I don't, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure Mark Wahlberg has some roles that I'm forgetting about, but like The Rock isn't super great in a lot of more serious roles. I'm just picturing CGI Rock and Scorpion King.
Right.
Not that that's a serious. Anyways, but they're great in comedies. Like, what was it? Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. Like Mark Wahlberg in this one. I think that's where they thrive. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious. Well, I have two thoughts. One, I'll start with The Rock because we just had it on our shameless plug again for our newsletter, Sweet and Condensed newsletter, where we have the watch list worthy section. And we did the A24 film that's going to be coming out, directed by Benny Safdie. Yeah, Benny out of the Safdie brothers.
That's right.
And it has The Rock. It's starring The Rock, and he has no tattoos. Like, they do makeup, the cover, and he has hair. So I had to do a double take on Twitter because I was like, "Is that The Rock?" And yes, it is The Rock, but he doesn't have his iconic look, shaved head and tattoos. So that being said, I'm interested to see how he's going to do in a serious role, especially it's an A24 produced movie. It's this, one half of the Safdie brothers who did Uncut Gems, and what they did with Adam Sandler was incredible. And I'm just looking forward to another phenomenal transformation performance, collaborative work between everyone who's involved in that production. So I'm intrigued. But
I forgot about that. I saw that surface on Twitter, and then in the newsletter. Like, we'll see. And you know what? I'm not trying to disrespect the Gridiron Gang because it's a great football movie. 2006.
Movie.
The Rock was good in it, but again, Adam Sandler. I loved Uncut Gems, so we'll see.
Right.
We'll stay tuned, I guess.
Stay tuned. And then Mark Wahlberg. I know everyone probably doesn't share this opinion. I like Mark Wahlberg in most roles, and one of the did you watch Instant Family?
Mm-mm.
Dude, talk about a full movie, man. Makes you laugh, makes you think. It holds you in thought, and dude, it might drop tears, dude. And it's Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne as the couple that decides they want to adopt, and so they adopt 3 children, and then they have a life, or maybe it's 2 children. Anyways,
Interesting.
I like it, but anyways, in terms of, he's still funny and he's still Mark Wahlberg, but it is a little bit more serious, or that really dramatic movie called Ted. That one.
Yeah, that's a great critically acclaimed
movie, man.
I mean,
but
it
yeah,
was certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So, hey, what's the shirt?
I think.
Hold on, back up.
Oh, this shirt. Shout out, New Mexico Drew, dude. He gave it to me.
I like it, dude.
I had to wear it since you're normally drinking out of the cups, and you just flaunt that in my face. Oh, now he's off. He's off screen. He's running so he can make fun of me again because I missed out on the Pulp Fiction movie theatrical release, which it came out, 94? So 20 years? Oh, that's right. 20th anniversary. That makes sense.
I had to go get the cup just to spite you.
Of course you did. You put some water in there and midday beer.
Midday beer, baby. All right, you ready to jump in?
Yes, let's do it, dude. Alrighty, so if anyone wants to see some more details, go back. We did episodes 1 through 4 on another episode, so go back to that one. We'll link it in the show notes. And so, but just a quick recap reminder. Okay, One Day is streaming on Netflix, and the description on Letterboxd, because I couldn't find the overall description on Netflix. They have a description for each episode, but the overall one couldn't find it. So Letterboxd says, 20 years, 2 people. After spending graduation night together, Emma and Dexter go to their separate ways, but their lives remain intertwined. 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.1 on Letterboxd. And again, we're going to start off on episode 5, or just basically finish it, spoil the whole thing. So if you don't want it spoiled, just tune in later. And if you want to hear where this starts, just go back to the last episode, One Day episodes 1 through 4. That being said, Eric, I am very sad and crushed and depressed and frustrated and anxious because of this show, but I'm going to let you start it since I was the one who someone recommended it to me. Shout out,
Name
Brenna.
them. Shout out, Brenna.
Brenna was the first one to say, Josh, you have to watch this show. She just knows that I like my heart being ripped in half, and I like to have some emotional outlets and just cry everywhere. So
see, there's a difference though. Like, okay, I like my heart to be like beat up a little bit, punched in the gut, like stomp on my heart a little bit, maybe like start to tear it, but don't tear it in half. And this show, I know we have like 9 episodes to cover today, but I'm really upset. And now I'm upset that I'm upset with Brenna for recommending it to you and forcing us to watch this, because I was feeling so high going into the finale, even because I think I misinterpreted the end of episode 13. Maybe I'm dumb or like just trying to be optimistic, but the way it ended, I didn't think we would end up where we are. Again, lots of spoilers. Don't watch this, actually. Don't watch this show. So just let us spoil it for you. This is like, okay, it may have been Cody Calhoun. And Cody, if you're listening and it's not you, tell me. A long time ago, I think we were having a conversation, Vincent and myself, about dogs. And he's like, getting a dog is like scheduling yourself a grief session 13 years later. Like, you are scheduling grief and sadness. Like, why do that? That's what this show is, dude. It's just scheduling grief in 14 episodes. Just ridiculous. I was very upset. I felt great when they finally... Sorry. We have a handful of episodes to cover before we get to like 11, 12, 13, and 14. But how did you feel leading up to like the finale and the sadness? What were your thoughts on their relationship and finally getting together and married? Like, how did you feel?
For sure. And right before that, the second person, I got to shout out Noah, the guy that flipped you off your car.
Dude, this is just a bad day.
How did I feel? Okay, again, I think in the last episode when we were talking about 1 through 4, I was very frustrated because of the characters and what do you want, what do you not want? And at first, you really like Leo, or I should know his character's name, Dexter. So played by Leo Whittle, and Emma. And but then it started flipping where I was like, I started getting frustrated with Dexter because Dexter starts going off the rails and he starts being, very frustrating character. And then overall, I think it was just frustrating because they both weren't saying what they wanted and they were going back and forth and there's all this tension. That being said, leading up to the very sad, depressing endings of this movie, yeah, I was very frustrated, but also I started having so much empathy and sympathy for Dexter. As much as the shitty things that he did, it was so rough to watch, dude. His decline
Mm.
uh, with alcohol abuse and Emma trying to live her life and meeting these different people, but also knowing that they kind of like were, I use this word loosely, I guess, but soulmates, right? Like they really felt like really drawn to each other and connected to each other. It was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking to know. Like in my mind, I felt like I knew they were headed to be together, but I did not expect. I thought something bad was going to happen to Dexter. I thought Dexter was like going to be something that was going to happen to Dexter, whether it was with alcohol, drugs,
Mm.
he changes his mind, he does something wild. And so that threw me off big time. But what about you? What was some standout as you led up to the last few episodes
Yeah,
and what you were feeling?
I felt similar to what you said. I'm forgetting the name of Emma's new Jean-Pierre, her new
Jean
boyfriend,
Pierre.
her last boyfriend prior to her and Dexter being together.
Okay.
When Dexter shows up to see her, I think it is episode 12. She's now seen a Frenchman, Jean-Pierre, and Dexter, he already has the kid, comes to visit her and sees that she's in a relationship and is super heartbroken. At that moment, I was like, oh, they're going to be together. And sure enough, the episode plays out. She breaks up with Jean-Pierre, comes back, they get together. But yeah, the whole time I felt like something bad was going to happen because, and this is just like me doing math in my head, because there were 2 episodes left. I was like, there's no
Mm,
way that I was just like anticipating something happening, something tragic happening. But I think it's that episode where yeah, she breaks up with Jean-Pierre. They finally are together again and make love and are intimate. And that night or the next morning in bed, she's like, "Hey, don't muck me about. Like, don't fool around. Are you gonna fool around with me? Or are we
right.
serious, right?" And that conversation made me think like, "Oh, damn, dude! Like they're gonna work out, and then he's gonna cheat, or he's leaving her, or yeah,
Right.
the drugs or the alcohol. Something is going to interrupt their relationship because there's 2 episodes left. Like something bad's gonna happen." And I had
Right.
no idea it would be freaking as bad as it was. But yeah, when they had that conversation, I think that's what she said. I don't know. They had different lingo. I actually turned the subtitles on a couple of times because I was like, "Wait, what?" To understand what they were saying. But when she's like, "Hey, don't fool around. Like, don't don't stab me in the back," or whatever she said. And so from that point forward, I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna," because he was cheated on. I don't know. That's where my mind went. But
Right. Dude,
just ripped my heart out.
that's funny. I put subtitles on almost on everything I watch. It's the
Oh,
subtitles
really?
are always on. But the thing that's funny about this one, making sure they were on, do they mention Leeds, right? She's from Leeds or she's gonna go
Yeah.
back to Leeds? So Zach and Cody studied in Leeds for a year, and that was the
Oh,
reason I went to Europe in end of 2013, beginning of 2014, was to visit them because they were studying in Leeds. And I remember thinking, we're going to go to like Belgium, which I thought at the time was in Germany, and we were going to go to France and we are going to Italy, and all those places. I'm like, I'm sure they speak English, but I know they also predominantly speak another language. England, I was like, it's gonna be easy. They speak English. Like it's gonna be a walk in the park. Dude, I wish I had subtitles in real life.
yeah.
I don't know if they knew what I was saying. Like were like miscommunication. We were getting lost in translation here, and we were both using English. It was it was wild. But um okay, so my question I guess too would be if you wanted to go ahead and ruin the ending, because I know that is a big part of what you were just talking about, but what what is the thing? Because you watched it, you finished it on Monday. I finished it a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or something. What is the what was something that held you in thought after finishing? Like, what's held you in thought since Monday the most? Or one of the things that's held you in thought the most? And that's why I'm like, maybe you do need to spoil the ending because that might be a part of what's held you in thought. But I'm just curious,
Well,
what was it that lingered in your mind?
I think, and I have a follow-up question for you relating to this a little bit. So For me, it was in episode 13 when they are married and she's taking on the role of stepmom and she's on the phone with her friend from the first episode, like, and her friend says something to her along the lines, I think you can take a note of this. It was like, hey, you're arguing with your husband. You have a normal life. Like, you can't always be prancing around Paris. Like, you're normal now. Like, and I was hopeful because he hadn't cheated. Nothing bad had happened towards the end of episode 13. So I'm like, hey, maybe their relationship is going to work out, right? He had the cafe, she had her writing career, and they were in this weird period of like coming to terms with she's stepmom to his kid, and they're finally figuring out life and things are normal and house hunting and all these different things that they're going through and overcoming that hump that I think a lot of couples struggle with of like sometimes the days aren't necessarily not couples, people. Sometimes life, you have days that are just not exciting. It's normal life.
Right.
And a lot of times I said couples because sometimes everybody refers to it as like the honeymoon phase when you're dating somebody or talking to somebody, especially this show, right? The back and forth, and are we going to be together? Are we not? And they're finally together, and is it going to be this magical thing forever? And they're like, well, no, like you're working and you're trying to figure out life, and she's figuring out how to be a stepmom, and she's on the phone with her friend who's like, you're living a normal experience. Like, this is okay. So I think couples, but yeah, just people in general, their phone calls right before Emma is freaking murdered, killed, slaughtered like a dog in the street. Saddest thing ever. Their voicemails to each other have kept me in thought. It felt like they had finally made that switch of like because they kind of had an argument prior to that. They couldn't start a family. She wasn't getting pregnant. And then they had this weird argument of like, am I boring you? Do you bore me? Like, are we, I don't know. It felt like it was a turning point in the relationship. Like, hey, is this actually all it was supposed to be almost? And their voicemails felt like they had overcome that to be like, yes, it is. When he says something like, hey, let's go to the breakfast bar. He's like, that can be exciting. And like, they're starting to realize like, hey, while they're not in their honeymoon phase anymore, like life is still exciting if you'd make it exciting together. And those voicemails felt like they had overcome that hump on their own. They went their separate ways that day. And he was leaving the cafe. She was leaving the pool before she gets slaughtered and to meet each other. And they leave each other voicemails of like, hey, breakfast bar is going to be awesome. Like, I love you so much. And she does the same. And they're so excited. And he's talking about the rain. And it felt like they had some time alone and decided like, no, this is the life we wanted. This is the life we're going to live together. And then boom, she's killed. So those voicemails, I think, have just like kept me in thought and will for a while of like, man, if they were there, I think they hit it at a point or in their relationship. This is just my speculation where a lot of people or couples get where you're like, wait, is this what I wanted? Is this the life that I wanted?
Right.
Like, or, for both of them, there were a lot of situations where like, is the grass always greener? And they're like, it felt like they were there in the relationship. And then they had come to terms individually of like, yes, it is. Let's make it. And then boom, she dies. So that killed me. Like, yes, it's sad that she died, but it killed me that they felt like the switch had flipped for them in that moment. And then she's taken from us.
Yeah. No,
that was brutal.
Dude, yeah. It was.
What held you in thought?
Yeah, the voicemails were interesting. Yeah, part of what held me in thought was it starts with the first time they did the voicemail thing, but it was mostly from his end, where he screwed up the whole day because he was drinking too much. He got drunk and fell asleep midday. His mom is battling cancer, and they're spending time together, but he wastes the whole day being drunk and hungover. That hurt. That wrecked me. Like she's on her way out, and this man is just ruining his own life or spiraling out of control in his own way. And then also how it impacts the rest of his family because his dad ends up driving him to the train station because he won't let him drive because obviously he's been drinking.
Yeah.
And his dad's furious, like pissed. And he drops him off and he gets on the phone. He starts leaving voicemails to Emma about wanting to hang out. And then it clicks that she's on a date. And then he just keeps leaving voicemails. He keeps rambling. And that whole thing made me just, at first the whole episode, I was just frustrated with him. And then all of a sudden I'm like, am I getting teary eyed for the person that like ruined this whole day? And now I'm like feeling for him and feel bad and having empathy and like crying. And I'm curious if those voicemails were like that, using that as a device and that episode 13 and I think it's episode 5. I wonder if they did it on purpose. But yeah, I think that the thing that kept holding me in thought was like, you do all these things, you take these risks, you take these chances, and it still might not work out, and you have no control over it. Like, you have no control over how it ends, and or in some regard, right? Like
Yeah.
how Emma, dude, she gets hit by a car. Like, that was, man, so unexpected too. Because like you said, I truly, truly thought something was going to happen with Dexter's character. And when he gets out of he finally opens the bar, or the not the bar, the cafe. It's starting to feel good, dude. I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're, doing what they want to do. They're building this life, even though it's frustrating, even though it's difficult. And then when he starts leaving, he gets on the phone, he's leaving a voicemail. I thought he was talking to someone else. Like, I thought he was talking to
Oh,
another person. And that had me again spiraling, because I thought, oh no, here it is. It's a different person. And then she's leaving a voicemail. And I'm like, I wonder if she's trying to contact him. He's talking to someone else, and they're
oh
leaving
yeah.
voicemails for each. And then it turns out it is her. And I was like, oh, thank God. But then a car wreck. And I think that just really bummed me out, that like, you could try, you can do, he started like changing his life and lifestyle and cleaning it up a bit. And yet you can't control if people are gonna get in a car wreck or not. And that, I don't know why that had me shook for so long. In just that, in the same, it's not directly related, but I save all this money, or I save all these things and memories, or actions, like, oh no, I'm going to do that at this point. I'm going to do this when I hit this milestone, or I'm going to travel at whatever point. I'm going to get married whenever I feel like when I feel like I'm ready. And then realize all of these things, if we keep putting it off, they can be changed at any moment, and it can
Yep.
happen at any moment. And again, out of my control, because I think some of the things that I can control are just some of the choices I make. But sometimes I think even choices that they look like choices from the outside looking in might not feel as choice as making a choice as other people. As someone who, I don't know, has struggled with like addiction, is like, I think sometimes is that a decision, like Leo? Like, is it a choice? And
Mm.
I know at the beginning it is a choice, but then at some point it feels less of a choice, right? And so it just starts controlling his life. And anyways, I really related in that aspect too, of just being under like control or dominion of something outside of yourself. And that's like sad. Like, that's not in a I look down upon you, but just like more like I feel that too.
You
Like, I don't
empathize
like
with
that
it,
feeling.
yeah.
I empathize with it. Yeah. So
I think that's so hard because you're right. In that moment when they did open the cafe, there's a montage. I'm sure it's episode 13. Yeah, it has to be. When you kind of see him working at the cafe and she's writing, and it feels like, I thought it was trying to show us like, ooh, now their life is starting to feel monotonous. That's where I thought the whole thing was headed. Like, life's monotonous. He's got a cafe, she's writing, and they're stuck in a rut. I think it would be a violent ending. But I'm gonna be honest. After she got hit by the car, there's like a tear running down her face. She's like kind of twitching and moving, and my mind's going like, "Oh man, she's not gonna be able to write anymore. Something else, like her life is now forever altered."
oh,
That's where my mind went. It showed her as a child, and my mind was in this place of like, they feel like they're in this monotonous lifestyle. The voicemails felt like they were overcoming it, and that flashback to her as a child, as she's laying in the concrete, is my thought was like, I don't know. I didn't see it as her dying, even though the episode ended with her eyes open. Like, so when that next episode, when the finale started, and there's this weird transition. It's a cool transition actually, and then it shows him like kind of dancing and grooving, and it feels like it's at a party. And I thought they were gonna go back in time, and it turns out he's like with his daughter at this kid's party. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, he's grooving with his kid. Life's good. He's a great dad now. And then it turns out he's drunk at the kid's party. And then when he
oh,
sits down with the stripper, that was literally my first time being like, "Oh, on this day, Emma died," and I was like, "Pause, pause." I'm serious. I don't know where my mind was when she got hit by the car, but when he's sitting with the girl and said, "On this day, Emma died," I was like, and I rewound. I literally went back to episode 13. I was like, "What the hell did I miss?" Anyways, so yeah, that was tough to watch, but that is one of the things you mentioned. One of the things I think they did so well from the jump. And I love when movies do this, is like you have such disdain for the person or just the actions of the person so many times. You empathize with them so much. Like you said, that episode, you're just kind of pissed at him. There's
Yeah.
so many other moments too. I don't know what episode it was, somewhere between 5 and 7, where Emma starts to explain to him, she was with a guy named Ian, I think, where she's like, you
Okay.
used to make me feel so special. Now you just make me feel like shit. Right.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's so many moments where you're like, this guy sucks. You're just pissed.
Right.
But you always come back to like, damn, it's just empathy, especially in that finale, obviously, right? Like I was just crushed for him. Yeah, that was brutal. And then in the moment too, I don't know. There's a lot of moments the show did that really well. Like we're not disdain, it's not that heavy. You're just kind of frustrated. You're kind of pissed. You're like, dude,
Right.
get a grip. And then it always brought you back to the feeling of empathy of like whether you relate to it or you acknowledge what maybe put him in that position. I don't know. I think they did a really good job of that. And also they were fantastic performances.
Oh, dude. I mean, some of their best. I think we talked about. I mean, I haven't seen Ambika Mod in anything else, but again, these are just memorable, very memorable performances and super well done. And yeah, I think, yeah, you say it really well that as frustrating as it is, you just come back to really just feeling for them, feeling for both of them, feeling for even in his shittiness of how cringe he's getting so successful at TV and they have that fancy bougie dinner, right? And he keeps
Yeah.
running to the bathroom. I'm pretty sure he's doing drugs. And oh, dude, those where you're just like, yes, this is a shitty dude. And just the way he treats people, the way he's doing. And yeah, I don't know how they kept that tension and reeling me back in, but they did it where I would at the end of the day, I still had empathy for both of them. And even when I don't know, even when Emma was dating other people, I was still like, you should be with Dexter,
Yeah.
even though he was shitty, right? And so and there were some funny moments too. I think I did again, I think I mentioned this in the last one about how I laughed. It wasn't like deep belly laughs
Yeah.
like the other guys. My favorite watch from this last week. I'm laughing. I'm laughing hard and it's great. This one, I'm just laughing either at how awkward or I feel cringe or it's just embarrassing. Not embarrassing like
Yeah.
I'm laughing at
Yeah.
embarrassment, but uh and the her boyfriend that would say a lot of dad jokes or say a lot of puns. Is that Ian? I think it's Ian.
I think it's Ian, yeah.
And he had some funny moments. He had some really funny moments. And but I think that just set up that last episode super, super well when they all were like, hey, we don't want you to spend this day alone. Dude, how brutal. I think that obviously it's a show. Obviously, the whole they meet on the same day and it follows them on that one day, same exact day every year for 20 years. So obviously it's staying to this template for the show's sake. But how intensely like brutal is it that the same day they met for the first time is also the same day that she ended up dying in that. It's just that's just rough. Like, how dare you do this to us? How dare you do these to these characters? And then, yeah, where they all gather in his apartment, and all his friends, including the corny ex
Ian?
boyfriend that did not
Yeah.
like Ian, did not like Dexter at all. I don't think
Yep.
I don't know if Dexter didn't like seriously not like people, but as much as they had every reason to have animosity for each other, dude, I'm not gonna lie. When dude, there's as far as okay, so those are the little laugh sections, and as far as crying, like I had tears at episode 5. That last episode when Ian tells him where he lives, and he's like, "Hey, that's like 3 hours away." He's like, "I know." Hey, oh, dude, that like spoke volumes in that one little moment about how deeply hurt this whole community and this whole friend group really was, and that this ex boyfriend was willing to drive or travel 3 hours to just consult this guy. I think they even referenced that just in case he doesn't do anything irrational. Because, dude, at some point, dude, when he was he was like visioning uh Emma in the room with him and they were having a
Oh yeah.
conversation. I was like, oh, he's done, dude. He's doing
Yep.
it.
Because
He's
he had
gonna
alluded to
take his
that
life.
even when Emma was he was joking, but I mean, I'm just saying that because they set you up to maybe have that feeling when before she breaks up with Jean Paul, he's like, I'm gonna jump in the canal. Like shit is just not going right. And when he's like dumping all that on her about how it is with his daughter and he can't connect and these different things. And I know that had changed at this point, but he had made jokes earlier, right? To Emma, I'm jumping in the canal. And so I think that maybe those first few episodes that we covered last time really did such a good job to get us to this point of feeling like we knew them. And that's maybe why we could always circle back to defending them, even especially him in like his shittiest moments. Like you said, you still felt like, oh, she should be with Dexter. Like those first few episodes set us up really well with the character development. I mean, that was the whole show. But early on, they were very relatable, relatable in the sense of like you might know someone like them or have seen a dynamic like that before, and like they set that up early on to where at the end you're feeling that even in his worst moments. I know we're talking about him, but
right. What were some of the scenes or episodes, if you remember, or any particular parts that moved your emotions to tears the most? And was there any like joyful like moments that were? It's not a joyful series, but I was just in this moment. I was just thinking like there's little pockets or little glimpses, and I'm curious if there was anything that hit you, not just in the sad part, but I do want to hear about the sad. What elements made you did you move? Were you moved to tears?
Yes. This is weird. When I told you I went back and rewatched the end of 13 into 14 after I realized that she had died. And that's just like maybe lack of media literacy on my part. I don't know. Whatever it was in my brain. But rewatching the first few minutes of 14, I was getting choked up after realizing that she was dead. And this is why what's happening is happening. And that part was I was like really feeling it. I think it was the first time I was moved to tears almost when because there was actually almost a part of me that thought, ooh, maybe they don't end up together. Remember when he faked tonsillitis?
Yep.
When he started getting choked up, that was weird for me. I was like, I'm kind of sad right now because yeah, I figured they'd end up together. But there was a hint of me when she ended up leaving. Not that I expected her to stay, but it was so. This is weird. It's almost childlike. How and I mean that in like a not an innocent way because he's not an innocent guy. God, he had a like, but where it like in that moment where he's like, I think I picked something up. Where he was like just making an excuse to stay home because he just couldn't bear the thought of like being with them if they were truly happy. So for a second I was like, oh shit, like maybe he's recognizing how good they are together. But I was like, there's no way he's just meeting this guy, right? It's not like he had gone to dinner, seen how much Jean Paul loved her, and then acknowledged it. But that moment, that almost got me a little bit because he had displayed plenty of emotion throughout the series, and especially with his mom. But I think fully moved to like tears and emotion was rewatching that first part of the finale with the knowledge that I should have had, I guess, the first time.
I totally forgot about when he gets choked up and he decides to stay in. That one. Yeah, that one.
You know what I mean? It just was. Yeah.
That was a good scene. That was a really good scene.
What about Joy for you?
Oh, dude, the last part, the montage at the end, as sad and depressing as it is, but as he recalls his whole life with her, and they're walking up that hill, and he's retracing some of those memories and steps, and showing his kid, where they went to uni, and I forget what the hill's called, but dude, that got me. I don't know what it is this last year, dude. These montages are just hitting, which I feel like montage could be a tool used in a like sometimes corny, sometimes obvious, whatever way. And maybe it's just me just not being so, I don't know, snobby about it, in the words of what's it called? Stepping out of what Kelly says we are. But
yeah.
This last year, dude, with all the montages, like in the ones in Saltburn, the ones, in this one, even the Talk to Me, not in an emotional way, but the Talk to Me montage, I've just been so captivated by them. And so this one, dude, was one of those emotional ones where I think they just did a really good job. And I was not that I was, it's not like joy and happy, like, oh, I'm glad how it ended. But it was more like, oh, it brought tears in the sense, it made me teary eyed in the sense that, I don't know, maybe hopeful, or maybe there was like some kind of, okay, I can come to terms or I can find contentment here in this life.
I think that's a great point, because a lot of the show, especially when they finally end up together, they don't give you a lot of breathing room to bask in the joy of them being together. The wedding, like,
Right.
they're married. She's now stepmom. They're trying for kids. Like, it happens in this way
Right.
where you don't get to, like, there's not a full episode dedicated to the engagement and the wedding and theirs, right? And so, like, you don't fully get to take that in. So yeah, it's like little pockets, like you said, of joy, even though that montage was sad for me. But that's funny that you say
Right.
that montage is usually, you were kind of like snobby before. I'm trying to think if there was a moment that I felt like that. Maybe I mean, there were a lot of like happier moments, but I don't know if I basked in joy, because, like I said, they didn't
Right.
give me time to. But again, I know they were like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was rough about the last two episodes, because there were still like 30 to 40 minutes, but they covered 3 years in each of those episodes.
Yep.
Versus all the other ones cover only 1 year.
Yeah,
So
it did go
yeah, that was an
98
interesting choice.
to 2004. So yeah, the 6 year.
It was right, because the 1988 was an hour-long episode. Everything else was like, even some of them crept into the like 20s, I think. And
Yeah,
so
one was 25 minutes.
it was, yeah. I like the fact they were like 20, 30-minute episodes, because I could just burn through them quicker. At the same time, I thought that was an interesting choice at the end to do 3 in one episode. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Like you said, they didn't give us enough time to fully appreciate or bask in the joy that, oh, they're finally together. And I'm not sure if I'm upset about that. I'm not sure if I don't know what it would look like if they gave us that. Maybe it would have been cool. I'm not sure. But that being said, yeah, I got a little glimpse of that though at the end in that little montage.
Oh, man. So what are your overall thoughts? I mean, it was definitely a full watch. I felt like it was a full watch for me. And like you said, it wasn't traditional laughter in the sense of like knee slappers and one-liners, but like relatable life moments and comical friendship dynamics, or like just awkward social interactions, in the same way that I will say,
Yeah.
like we watched Baby Reindeer, where it's technically like a dark comedy. No one's knee slapping laughing in that show. But again, it's those awkward social interactions where you like that nervous giggle. Anyways, definitely brought me to tears and definitely helped me in thought. Not in ways that I would like, but
Right. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch Baby Reindeer. I'm gonna be honest.
oh, dude,
Should I?
It's it is incredible that the main character, the actor, wrote it. It's his life story. It's unfortunate what he went through. Like, it's really an accomplishment for him and the crew, but like it deals with abuse, like sexual abuse, and it deals with it in the sense of like displaying it. And it is tough to
Ah,
watch. Like, it's a
oof.
dark comedy, and it's great performances, and there's some comedy in it. But oh my god, does it deal with like tough subject
Yeah.
matter, and in the sense of like they talk about it and they show it, and you like, I think his goal was to like display what he lived through, and dude, it's gnarly.
Hmm.
So they
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We just started getting into Eric. I know that's not talking to you, but the show Eric with Benedict Cumberbatch.
oh, I haven't seen it.
He's he's a puppeteer. He created a show. Anyways, it deals with missing child. Oh, dude.
Ooh.
But I'm enjoying the show, as bad as that sounds. I I've been watching it and working at the same time. We've been watching it at the household, so maybe I need to rewatch some of it. But
Mm,
again, dark subject matter, right?
yeah.
Good performances, good, and the way that they make character development and make the audience start going in all these different directions and piecing things together. it's like I have to watch the next one. But anyways, I bring that up because it sounds like the dark subject matter. It's not a dark comedy, I don't think, but the dark subject matter is sounds similar to Baby Reindeer. So I don't know about that, but
Yeah, tough.
I am gonna finish Eric, but overall, yeah, I enjoyed it, dude. It's it's a full watch. It definitely held me in thought. It definitely made me laugh. It definitely made me cry, and I think it just did a good job for me. I think one of the reasons I enjoyed it is just being pulled into that world of relationships with people and how I get really close to people and how friendships change over time, both romantic and non-romantic relationships. I think it just relates in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Some people you don't see that often and that frequently, and how you can still have depth in a relationship with not seeing them that often, and at the same time it can make things a little more complicated in terms of how we communicate with each other. And so I did like that aspect of it. It really did bring me into that world, or I started thinking a lot about my own life and how I move through this earth and through life. And so, but yeah, I recommend it, I think, with caution, but they're just good performances, and overall I think I did enjoy the story enough too. But it's going to be heavy. People might hate me. I'm going to end up being that person that recommends it to some people like yourself and get some flack for it. So
I'm stopping the cycle. I'm stopping the cycle of mental abuse, and I'm
there you go.
And I'm not recommending this to people.
Awesome, awesome. Well, anyways, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate you tuning in. Like, subscribe, 5-star ratings if you want. That really helps the show. Support us. You can support us through Patreon. You can support us through subscribing to our newsletter, Sweet and Condensed, on Substack. You can support us by following us on social media. All those things are in our bio to connect you with any of the ways in which you want to support. And yeah, stay tuned for more episodes and more stuff coming out.
Peace.